So, is it
And yeah, we are live. We are live.
your live? Cool.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for coming over. Can you just tell me if our voices are audible? Sankho, just say something.
Yeah, like my voice too. If you're audible, like clearly.
Can you hear us?
Saying anything?
No, I'm not. Yes, we are. We are audible. People are saying you're audible. Cool. Great.
Yes.
So, how are you guys doing? We'll just wait for 2 more minutes for more people to join in, and then right after that, all right, we have 174 people joining in, and yeah, people are doing great. All right, guys. So today we'll just be talking about a couple of things that are quite critical in college and things that you should be knowing about. Something about Sankho because Sankho just doesn't like to come on cam. Most of his videos are things where he isn't on cam, right? So if you want to know him personally, if you want to have some deep insights about Sankho, then now is the right time to know about him. And at the same time, if you have any questions about artificial intelligence, because Sankho is doing his degree in artificial intelligence at IIT Hyderabad. So if you want to know about those sort of things, then he is the right person to talk to. And at the same time, we'll be taking up a lot of questions. I can see questions coming up. So, if it's a good question, we'll take it up. And that's pretty much it, right? So, Sankho, give a quick introduction about who you are and how you got started with YouTube.
Yeah. So, hey guys, if this is your first time seeing my face, probably. So my name is Sankho, as Harish already mentioned, and he really gave a good introduction. I don't really deserve that much praise, but anyway, I am doing. I'm currently second year at BTech in artificial intelligence at IIT Hyderabad, and I do have a YouTube channel, a small YouTube channel where I talk about mainly productivity and some of my college life. I also do kind of vlogs and stuff because I didn't like editing videos. So my YouTube is kind of a middle ground between a creative outlet, but I can edit and tell my stories and also help people out. So that's kind of the short introduction I can give.
Okay, okay. Tell us about your IIT Hyderabad journey. How was your life after 10th grade? From 10th grade to IIT Hyderabad, how was that journey?
After 10th, I think at that point of time, like time really flew. Like literally those 2 years, we don't remember
Mhm.
it. And like it was like since I started preparing from 10th, and everything was so set up in a routine and all everything like that. So it's like everything was so planned. It didn't really take much willpower and stuff. Like my dad already planned what I had to study in a day. And he used to like divide all the chapters when I used to revise what and everything. So I didn't really have to think much. Like most people should do. That's a really unfair advantage or whatever kind or privilege I had. That my dad really helped me in this. So I didn't really have to think anytime that what will I study the next day or this chapter must be studied. This chapter is coming on
Mhm.
the test. What test I should be preparing for? I really didn't need to think about any of that. But yeah, my
Mhm.
dad did a lot for me. Like he used to take me. Like I live kind of out of the city, so
Mhm.
you can't really get any coaching over here, right?
Mhm.
And not many people are like serious about JE and stuff. So my dad used to take me to the city every weekend, sometimes 3 or 4 times every week. We had to take like 2 or 3 hours train journey from my place,
Wow.
uh, and we will have class like from 5 p.m. to 8:30 or 9, and then I'll come back to my home at around 11 in the night. And dad is to sit out the whole time at the railway station and just wait for me. That's
Wow.
really
It's
like
great.
he sacrificed so much time for me. I'm
Mhm.
really thankful about that. And those are the things, like working, like seeing my parents work so hard for me is kind of, some people call it pressure, some people call it motivation. that's something that really pushed me, that I can't really fail themselves. By failing, I don't mean failing to crack JE. That's not really that big of a matter. But
Mm-hmm.
doing something you like, doing something you want to do, and especially what matters to, like, some people say that their families are pressurizing them to study JE and everything. See, I truly believe that for every parent, what's really important is that their son or daughter is happy. And if I
Mm-hmm.
can be happy with my work, I think my parents' job or whatever is successful. Whatever the sacrifices they put in for me and
Mm-hmm.
everything they have done, I think that is successful. Yeah, so 11th and 12th, it was like I started with like physics mostly, because I had done some part of 11th physics in 10th, because I loved physics. It was really interesting for me. And chemistry was something I hated all through the 2 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I used to like maths till 10th, but 10th and 11th maths has a really large gap. And
Mm-hmm.
once chapters like quadratic equation and complex numbers came up, that's when I started getting a little bit scared of math.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this guy in my class who used to do really good at math. I started talking to him like, dude, how do you do this? Like, he was really far better than anyone else. He was just,
Okay.
dude, I don't practice anything else, just do math. So I like started practicing maths more than anything for like 2 3 months, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow I got around that. I still don't understand complex numbers that well, but yeah, most of the math was
I don't
well
think it
covered.
matters anymore.
Yeah, and some part of like chemistry, inorganic chemistry. Obviously, everyone hates the inorganic chemistry unless
Mm-hmm.
people like to remember information. I don't know. So yeah,
Alright,
that's
that's quite
how it
interesting.
went.
I mean, looking at the sacrifice that your dad made, you know, staying in the railway station, waiting for you for like hours. That's something that requires a lot of dedication, and they really cared for you. And another point that you brought up was, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you crack JE or BITSAT or whatever the exam is. Your parents just want to see you happy, right? What's the point
Yeah,
of cracking JE when your life is going to be really sad and you're always going to feel really pressurized, and like it just doesn't matter. So that's something that Sankho brought in, and even I truly believe in it. As long as you're happy, do not worry about your parents. Even your parents would feel proud of you, right? And how did YouTube start? You got into IIT Hyderabad, and then you just started filming. Was it something is it something that you learned from others? Was it because you watched other people do it, or was it very intrinsic? You just wanted to film and learn something.
yeah. So a lot of people like seeing my YouTube channel. It is like a lot of people will think that my YouTube journey started after I cracked JEE and got into IIT Hyderabad, but it actually goes back like 5 to 6 years before that.
Oh.
My dad actually had a little bit of um, like unorthodox career in theater and filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
So since my childhood, I saw him talking about those stuff. I naturally got interested in those. I had a really like old PC in my house, which
Mm-hmm.
and without any graphics card and a 2 GB DDR3 RAM. I somehow started running Adobe After Effects CS3 on that, a cracked version from torrent as usual, and I started editing videos. Like as far as I can remember, since like seventh or eighth standard, I started editing videos, small things, small montages, simple something like footages of nature, birds, or when I go to play with my friends, I'll film them like their bowling lineup or something like their cover drives and stuff, and I'll make
Mm-hmm.
a video out of those. It really started out like that, and then around I think 12th standard when school was about to end. At that point, I was like before that I was really shy of the camera and not really wanted to be in photos or in videos. But then at the end of school, we all started realizing that this part is not going to come back again. After
Mm-hmm.
this many years of school, we may not like it at that point, but at the end, you feel a bit nostalgic. You feel like
Mm-hmm.
this is all a part of your life that you're not going to get back again. So at that time, I finally realized that how important those photos and those
Documentary.
videos are. Yeah, and really documenting some part of it at least, whichever you can. So then I started this. three, I can say three components came into my YouTube channel. One is obviously this documenting my journey. I like to really, I'm really like a nostalgic person. I really like that dopamine hit where you get from the nostalgia. Like I'm really nostalgic about the first year of college. It's literally one. It's literally been 1 year. I'm still
Yeah.
nostalgic about yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to do. Two is during my J preparation period, I made many mistakes. Obviously, I learned from my teachers, I learned from my peers. I learned a lot of things. I made a lot of mistakes. So I wanted to share those with people who are also going for the same entrance examination or something related to that. So they can,
Mhm.
so at least they can avoid the same mistakes or make better decisions on that. That's the second part, and third is obviously my camera shyness that I took that up as a challenge that I have to get out of this shyness, camera shyness thing. So I like with smaller steps I got here. Like I started putting my voice in my video, then I started showing my face, then I started
Mhm.
talking, which is
Okay.
really.
I'll just tell
And
you
then
a bit about my YouTube journey. So it started back in ninth grade, and it was pretty similar, right? We weren't really allowed to bring phones or cameras to school, but I think on the day of Teachers' Day, you can actually bring a camera, right? So we sneaked in a camera, and from that day onwards, like every single day, we used to bring in camera to school, like just put it in our pockets and bring it. And we filmed everywhere. We filmed right from the bathroom, dancing in the bathroom, to like filming the assembly. We did everything, and once we did that, we just simply uploaded it to YouTube. And then like each video used to get like 10 views, and that was just from our classroom, like kids in our classroom. Later on, I had to like remove all of those videos, like it's not there right now. But that's how it started. It was all about documenting. And even today, like say 7 years from now, when I look at it, I still feel it, right? I still feel nostalgic. I was like, hey, we used to live such a good life back then. Like we were so carefree, we had nothing to worry about. And that's a great way. So documenting your life, really, like just filming it, a very raw footage, not even editing it, really matters. And 10 years from now, when we look at this footage, even that's going to be a great feeling, right? That we at least did something. So then once I was in college, it was a similar feeling. I loved Bitskoa, like everything over there, the people, Goa in general, the beaches, playing in the fields, or even attending lectures. Like, though I didn't like what the teacher is saying, but just being in that environment, it was really fun. And I thought, hey, why not shoot it and show this to people? Because we were talking about this earlier, right? There are a lot of people who just read out stuff about college, just read out brochures, and just say
Yeah,
that this college is like that, this college is like that, but no one really knows how it feels like to be in the college, right? No one really knows how it feels to attend or like be a student in that college. And that's what I felt was missing at Bitskoa. So during the initial days, I used my phone only, and I took up my phone, and I just started filming whatever was happening around me. So even if it's like something like attending a lecture, or maybe playing with my friends, or just just talking to my friends, anything and everything, I just start filming it and making short vlogs. And these vlogs really helped people make a better decision, because when you actually see how a college looks like, when you actually see how a hostel looks like, how girls hostels look like, how boys hostels look like, how the mess looks like, how it feels to eat in a mess, what's the food you get, that gives you a much better insight into the college, rather than just looking at the cutoffs, because that's not what you want. You're dedicating the next 4 years of your life to something that's much more than just cutoff. So that's how the entire journey started. And later on, I started making content about freelancing and skills, because I felt that a lot of my audience, they wanted to make money. Like everyone wants to make money. I mean,
yeah,
that's the aim of a lot of people. But something that I felt was missing is that they did not know how to make money. Like if I say, hey, you can freelance, and you do video editing, right? So I can be like, hey, you can do video editing and earn money. So now people start to find shortcuts to, how can I edit a video real fast? How can I learn editing today itself, and from tomorrow onwards, I can start getting freelancing gigs and start earning money. And that's the wrong attitude. That's not how things work. You need to put in a lot of time, a lot of energy, and actually learn a skill that you actually love to do. And also you should have like a roadmap, say, how you can get started with the skill, and how what's the next step. So that's what I'm trying to trying to like that's the major focus of my channel right now. I want to tell people what skills you got to learn and what's the path you got to follow. And starting early is much better. So starting in college or starting in 11th and 12th grade is like it gives you a competitive advantage over others. So that's how my channel started, and that's how my pivot also happened. And yeah, so let's talk about your degree. You're doing a degree in artificial intelligence. Now,
Yeah.
how does that look like?
Yeah, so I remember after, like when the counseling thing was going on, I was really not sure about AI. Like it was really the same thing, right? It's a new degree for the first year. Not any bigger IITs have it. Somehow IIT Hyderabad just brought it up, and my dad talked to one of my like the maths teacher I used to have back then, and both of them agreed like you should go for it. I was actually going for computer science because again I like coding and I like
Mhm,
how the problem solving and everything works, and especially making stuff with coding. So
mhm,
that's how I got into AI, and I had a rough idea about how AI looks and what it does and what potential does it have. Especially everyone is just talking about how big it's gonna get, how what huge potential it has. But yeah, for me, it kind of is like whatever you work, whatever you like, whatever field you work in. I really want to have at least some nag or some kind of fun into it. It just doesn't matter how much money is it making me, or just about how much bigger of a scope it has.
mhm,
It should be kind of a little bit enjoyable to me at least.
mhm.
So I have found like that middle ground in between, and AI looks like the one thing I didn't saw coming before I joined college is that AI
Oh,
is absolutely literally full of math, a
yeah.
lot of complex calculus, and about 80% is linear algebra, and the rest of the 20% is calculus and probability statistics and the stuff. So like coding, you don't need much coding in AI. Coding
Mhm,
is generally like now I'm realizing it that computers and coding is mostly used as a calculator for a huge multiplication of matrices and stuff in AI. There's not much like you are making a web application or a mobile app or maybe some a website with
mhm,
you do those things in development and stuff. Those are the things I had in mind when I was going for CSE. But yeah, I enjoy AI quite a lot, like like predicting stuff, and obviously the things I can do with AI, like the not talking about the scope. I'm talking about the things I can personally make on personal projects. Like I can make
mhm,
an AI play a driving game. That's really interesting if you ask me. And
mhm, mhm,
so those are things that started. The first year is almost all of maths and like literal linear algebra and probability statistics, basic statistics. Is, the third semester, that is the second year first semester, is also filled with math, but we have a course called Foundations of Machine Learning and Computer Architecture. We're slowly going into those things. And for the people who are worried about if AI, like AI is a new thing in India, like BTech in AI is really a new thing in India, not like no other IITs have it. IIT
mhm,
Hyderabad first. So even some of the students who took AI in our college and some of the people in our branch had this. They were like kind of intimidated if that people are gonna hire us. People were gonna if there's gonna be any kind of job at the end of fourth year, like maybe we should have taken CSE because CSE is already a booming field. There's a lot of jobs there. So uh, what about FA? That is FA is faculty advisor. We discussed this thing with him. I think
mhm,
you guys really should know this. Who are planning to go into AI and is intimidated by that. Maybe it won't get me the jobs that CS guys can get. Mm, he said that this was really a challenge, like just like the students who took up AI as a new field. It was similarly a challenge for the college as well to bring a new stream into BTech, which was initially a specialization for MTech in CS and stuff. So they said they planned this curriculum in such a way. it's gonna revolve all around the CS curriculum, and also get you to a good idea of how AI, machine learning, deep learning, all those things work. If AI doesn't work for you, you will every student that completes the BTech in AI will have like enough knowledge and will have completed enough courses to sit for GATE for CS. So that's like a like relief if you are really worried about the jobs and the scopes of AI.
Like AI, to be honest, it really fascinates me, right? With say things like GPT-3, with things like self-driving cars, with Elon Musk's Neuralink. These are all things that are revolutionary. And let's take an example of GPT-3. So recently, I was reading that GPT-3 can create content itself. So
Mhm.
the content that uh, we have a lot of content writers, right, who write about, say, phone reviews or
Yeah.
maybe some technical content, anything. GPT-3 can replicate that entire content, and it's as good as something that a human writes. And like lot of people were asking, is it going to replace humans? So, even a lot of researchers say that yes, it's highly likely that GPT-3 could take away a lot of content writing jobs. Because if a company is able to use GPT-3, and if it's able to do the job like at a way cheaper rate, then why not? It's going to go ahead with it, right? So I'm not saying every job is going to get destroyed. Like GPT, I'm not sure if GPT-3 would be able to write books like Harry Potter. That creative side of human still stays. But when it
Yeah.
comes to something that's very technical, something that's very repetitive, something that doesn't take much of efforts, I feel something like GPT-3 could easily replace that job. And self-driving cars, right? Uber, Lyft, Ola, Oyo, no, not Oyo. Uh, all of these ride-hailing companies are investing heavily in self-driving cars, right? Because let's take an example of Uber. So in case of Uber, the major disadvantage of Uber is that it has to pay its drivers. And
Hmm.
Uber is a loss-making company. It's still making loss. It's not a profitable company. They haven't been. I mean, even the IPO wasn't that great. The reason is pretty simple because they have to pay their drivers, and that's the biggest liability. So right now, Uber is betting on 2050, 2000. These guys want to create self-driving cars which do not require a driver. It's completely owned by Uber, and it's a one-time investment. You get a car, a self-driving car, and it works for Uber forever. It doesn't need a driver, nothing, and then it's a very profitable business. So Uber, Lyft, they are like pouring in billions of dollars into this industry, and taking it to the next level because they know that the future of driving is going to be self-driving cars. And let's take an example of Neuralink could be revolutionary in the field of healthcare, right? Because as Elon Musk said, they recently did a experiment with a pig. So they put in the Neuralink chip into its brain, and like whatever disease we have, majority of the diseases, say it's a stroke, or say if it's like a say if your right hand is not functioning or something like that, it's mostly
Yeah.
related to your brain. It's something in your brain, the wiring sort of. I mean, I'm not really a biology student, but I'm just saying, if your brain messes up, if the neurons mess up, that's when most of these diseases come into play. But what if you can actually go into the brain and actually like change the way your brain is functioning, change the way neurons are functioning? That's going to be really, really crazy, and that's what Musk is trying to do with Neuralink. So when I look at what's going to happen in 2050, what's going to happen in 2000, I see that these applications right now, they might seem like fantasy. Right now they're in their research phase, but I'm pretty sure that if it's something like with degrees in AI coming up and with you guys joining the workforce, it's going to have a far more impact, and that's going to lead to something that's very revolutionary. Maybe if Neuralink becomes a success, then like 99% of the diseases that are happening in the world, including cancer, could be cured using something like Neuralink. So when you say that AI, maybe like computer science is great, but AI has its own set of applications. AI is like building for the next 100 years, and with how humans are progressing, I think the next big industrial revolution is going to be led by AI. So yeah, that's my take on that. Now let's talk about social media, right? You've been on social media, you've been on YouTube, you have over 50,000 subscribers, and now when you go on social media, you start to sort of analyze social media. You know how Instagram functions, you know how YouTube functions, what are the ways people interact with you. And recently, you made a video called the Instagram Complex, which is something that I was able to relate to. Could you tell us a bit about what Instagram Complex is and what's your take on that?
Yeah, basically, so I made a video about Instagram complex. What I like the main idea behind this I wanted to talk about is that people generally like what people do on Instagram. Like personally, I have two accounts on Instagram. One is for my art, like the drawings I make and stuff. I like to post those. Like again, that's why do I like to post those to get likes? Let's be honest, to get likes, to get comments, to get praise from people. To some extent we are all seeking that attention from people, seeking people's like validation and connecting that with our self-esteem. To some extent that is fine, at least that's where I stand right now. But when that gets out of hand, like I really like the quote that on Instagram we're really comparing our own behind the scenes with other people's highlights. That's a quote I really like when you go out on suppose on a vacation, you click hundreds of pictures, but you post that one picture which is the best one. You don't, the other people don't get to see the other probably 90 shitty pictures you took. Yeah, but the other what other people are thinking when they get to see one picture of your trip, they're gonna think your trip was amazing. That's just an analogy I'm gonna give. So what it creates now, see, suppose you went on the some other trip, and you are seeing your whole 100 pictures. Out of them, 90 are not very good, and you saw my one picture, which is like really awesome. You're gonna think you didn't have a good trip, even if you did. So inevitably, we start to compare ourselves on people on Instagram or on any other social media, especially Instagram these days, where people like to show the best version of themselves, the best part of their lives, and that kind of stuff. And another thing is, so seeing that, once you understand that, you try to do the same on Instagram. You try to put the best version of yourself. You try to put up the best moments of your life, and you start getting likes and comments and followers and some kind of recognition from people who are literally you don't know, people of the internet who don't know you as well. They are recognizing something you put up on the internet, and that really feels amazing at the start. It's the same with YouTube. You start uploading on YouTube. If you some of your videos really do like better than the others, people started praising you, and then if suddenly if you are like dedicated enough to YouTube, there should at least be one of those phases when you're just looking at the analytics every day, see where it is going down and how can I get it
I do that
up.
every day.
Yeah, everyone gets through those phases, obviously. So I think once you get to that, then like if that part, there is obviously those two parts. One is looking at the analytics, one is looking back at you, which is obviously like thinking, is this really the story you want to tell? Is this really you want to do? Is this really what makes you happy? Another thing is obviously looking at how much money you're making, how many dollars are you making. So I think it's really like finding the middle ground between those. If one of them overpowers, like it's like if you're the part where you try to do whatever you want overpowers your YouTube channel. If you're doing YouTube channel just for fun, it's okay. If you start doing whatever you want, is not gonna grow. Obviously, it's gonna be a vlog one day and then a cooking tutorial the other day. It's not gonna work like that. Otherwise, if the other thing, the other side of YouTube or the other side of social media takes over, it's much more dangerous because you then start working for the numbers. You start just counting likes, and you actually get depressed when you don't see the expected amount of likes, or you start seeing hate comments. Like you have 50,000, more than 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think you can relate that you get hate comments, bad comments, and stuff.
Yeah,
And
mostly
you
bad.
yeah. So once you are happy with yourself, like the with the videos you make, and you really see at least some people who are getting helped by those videos, it really helps. And the thing about Instagram is don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Even like for one, it can provide wrong information. Everyone knows that at this point, especially WhatsApp and Instagram. Don't trust anything you see on Instagram and in family WhatsApp groups, obviously. And yeah, if you're using Instagram or any social media, I think there should be a balance between consumption and production, like creation, or I should say creation. If you're using social media, have your own page. Create something. Share what you like. Right. If you like to draw, share that. It's not that of a big deal. If you don't like to share it, it's still fine. If you're just using Instagram for memes, that's totally fine. So yeah, that's kind of the idea you have to work with. Again, Instagram is not something everyone can quit all of a sudden. But one really cool experiment I can suggest you. It's gonna be hard at first. Try to quit all of social media for 7 days. It's gonna be really hard for the first 1, 2, or 3 days, but after that it's gonna get really easy. And the striking thing about this social media detox, I should say, after the 7 or 10 days you go for, after that you will find you're checking Instagram a lot less. You're taking Instagram a lot less seriously. I don't know why that happens, but you can use if you think Instagram is taking a lot of time, or YouTube is the new Instagram. People just keep scrolling on YouTube. Even I do. I'm a victim to that in lockdown. So
Yeah, so
yeah,
I feel like for some reason I hate Instagram and Facebook. I feel YouTube is a much healthier platform compared to Instagram and Facebook because
yeah,
like when it comes to Instagram, it's an app driven by attention. So the app itself, the makers of the app itself, like Facebook, they want you to check your DMs. That's why it's in red. I think you've highlighted it in your video as well. When you get likes, it's in red. So they just, and red is a sense of urgency, right? They want you to check it. They want you to see how many likes you got. They want you to see who liked it. I've seen a lot of people who just see who has seen the story. I mean, even I do that sometimes to just see who, okay, this guy cares about me, this guy cares about me, and say next time he or she doesn't watch your story, you'll be like, oh, they don't care about me. And that's going to bring in a very terrible sense of sense of credibility, right? Because you'll be like, okay, at some points people care about me, but at the same time there'll be times when they don't care about you. So recently I was reading this book, I think it's called The Rudest Book Ever. So over
mhm,
there he was like, whenever you depend on these external mediums, like say YouTube likes, or maybe Instagram likes, or maybe the number of people who are DMing you, whenever you depend on these external factors, you're in a way validating yourself based on what others are saying, right? So if others are commenting great stuff about you, if your relatives are saying amazing stuff about you, if your parents are like, hey, I'm proud of you, you start feeling really great. You start building up that ego. You start feeling really good about yourself. But the issue with validating yourself using external measures is that when the opposite happens, when people start putting in hate comments, when people start disliking your videos, when your relatives say, okay, he's not that great, that's going to hit you really hard, right? Because you've been validating yourself based on external measures for so long that you just can't take criticism.
yeah,
And that's really important. You need to find that self satisfaction. I would say, like, really, I mean, it's impossible, but try to be very neutral when it comes to things, right? So when you upload a picture on Instagram, do not become really happy and be like, oh, people care about me when people like it. Just be like, all right, I did something, people acknowledging, and that's it. So that's my take on Instagram. And to be honest, like Instagram is promoting short form content. Like this is something that I'm addressing in my next video. These short form content like TikToks, Instagram Reels, and Instagram Stories, they all promote short form content. And when it comes to short form content, I read this research that whenever you consume short form content, it reduces your attention span. So
yeah,
earlier, say you were able to read a 300-page book. Once you get used to these short form contents, once you watch like hundreds of TikToks, you wouldn't be able to finish a 300 page book because your like brain doesn't have that retention, it doesn't have that attention span. And that's really really terrible because like when you use Instagram or TikTok or whatever those apps are, you don't really gain much knowledge, you don't really gain much insights. It's just watching your friends and answering people. But when you read books, when you watch documentaries, when you read good blogs, all right, good Twitter threads or good Reddit posts, that's where you get far more knowledge. Like I've learned more from books than YouTube or Instagram or anything combined, right?
right,
I've learned more from BBC documentaries than anything else. And these long form contents, like book is so underrated, right? People, the author spends like say 20, 30 years researching and compiling that book, which you can read in like a couple of hours. So you're in a way taking that author's 20, 30 years of hard work and just trying to remember that part in a couple of hours. So books is something that really matters. And because of these short form content, because of a lot of these Instagram things, you do not read a book, you do not watch good
Mm.
documentaries. And I feel like that's what I'm trying to do, because even I've been in this Instagram loop. I've been doing a lot of like post. I rarely post, but I've been watching a lot of stories and doing that stuff. I'm trying to reduce my Instagram time and spend more time in reading books and watching good documentaries. So that's like a personal change. All right,
Yeah,
so let's yeah,
like
Sanko.
is like another psychological thing that this Instagram and Facebook try to do is I think you've noticed that whenever you open up Instagram or Facebook, the notification doesn't pop up instant. It takes like 1 or 2 seconds to pop up that red dot on Facebook or the red notification with the number on Instagram. What it does is it's like the sabar ka phal meetha hota hai kind of thing. Like when it
Mm-hmm,
shows you kind of suspense, that increases the dopamine hit, that increases the impact on you.
mm-hmm,
So that's something they use to get. Like, if you open an app and you see you got 100 likes, and you open an app, you have to wait for 2 seconds. You have to anticipate what is gonna come, and then you see you got 100 likes. That might not seem much from the outside, but that really has a really like different impact. Those two things.
mm-hmm,
So one thing I personally do to keep my Instagram time less is obviously whenever I feel like Instagram is going too much out of hand, I uninstall it for 1 week. That
all
it
right.
brings me back into control. Another thing is if you go to my Instagram, you'll see I follow like 50 people, right?
Mm-hmm,
And those are all my friends, and you and some other two, three other YouTubers like Thomas Frank, Matt Diavela, and Nathaniel Drew, and some John Fish, people like that I look up to. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
so what happens is if you follow too many people, I think it's cool key your feed is constantly updating with new information, not really information, new posts and new entertainment. But what I get out of following just 50 people on Instagram is that in the morning I open Instagram and in the evening I open Instagram, the feed doesn't really change. There's nothing really
mm-hmm,
new to look at. So I tend to stop myself from going into the search or explore page because that's really
mm-hmm.
a rabbit hole. Once you go into it, time just flows. So yeah, that's something you can try out, and especially if you're feeling like Instagram or any kind of social media is taking a toll of you, you should try the 7 day detox or
Yeah.
any kind of.
Let's talk about online courses now. I think you have done some online courses, and you also made a video that said, how to code effectively. So, could you give us some insights on that?
Yeah, like the thing is about how the internet and especially YouTube is going on right now. If you want to learn anything, for once you can learn it on the internet, and for two you can learn it for free.
Mm-hmm,
Learning it for free, you can find literally anything you want to learn on YouTube, but again learning it for free has some kind of problem, is like the thing isn't that well structured. You can't contact the teacher or the creator whoever is making that content that effectively. You can't contact with your peers and stuff. You don't get assignments. So it's kind of, you have to make the discipline out of yourself, and self discipline isn't that easy, especially when you're on the internet. So yeah, free is available if you can do it. Learning to code or anything, you can find those hourly long videos which teach like all the basics of a programming language in 4 hours or 5 hours. You can watch
mm-hmm.
those.
I think
Or
Free Code Camp has those videos, those 4 5 hour
yeah,
long videos.
you can also go for free coding apps, obviously. Literally, or sometimes you want to have a much more formulated, much more structured way. That's when you can give 300 or 400 rupees for a course, or even up to 1,000 if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
You can find like obviously you can find AI and machine basics of machine learning tutorials on YouTube. A really good channel is called Sentex. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. Sentex. It's a really
Syntax.
Sentex. It's a really good channel.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have taken like I'm generally no, it's Sent.
All right. All right.
I'll write it in the
I got it. Got it. Got it.
yeah. Um, that's again. You should see the chat, right? I wrote it on there.
All right. All right. Got it. So
Yes.
even so you're saying that YouTube is like an open library where there are a lot of stuff together and learning. I mean, though it's free, it's very like it's not structured well, so it's difficult to learn.
Yeah, so you can obviously go to those websites like anything, Code Academy, Udemy, Coursera, or anything, any kind of those websites. Those are actually
Oh
really
God.
helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And the main things I wanted to learn from online courses are obviously some bit of machine learning. I took the Holy Grail N course on Coursera,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, and some of the design, like fundamentals of design, typography. I've really been interested in design because I've been drawing for quite a while now, and design really seemed interesting to me. So I've done some typography and some, what are those called, poster making, those kind of stuff. And obviously you can see my guitar, I'm trying to learn that as well, online course as well, because again from college you can't really manage your time to go to a proper guitar class. Maybe you can do on weekends, but that's again wasting a lot of time because IT Hyderabad is not in Hyderabad. It's really out of the city, so
Oh,
you have to travel a lot to get there. So that's
okay.
how, again, like online courses are really useful if you can use them well.
So this is my take on YouTube. I mean, online courses, right? As I said, YouTube is an open library, and I haven't really learned much from YouTube. I've tried to learn, like, even if it's something as basic as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, I haven't learned it from YouTube. Like, I've actually gone to people who know it, and I've learned from them. And I think when it comes to learning, there are two things that work really well. A is structured courses, like Udemy, for example, right? It's pretty structured, and maybe Coursera. All of these are very structured. So you take all the clutter out of YouTube, pick out the really good ones, place them with some assignments, some quizzes, and some projects, and that's Udemy, that's Coursera. These courses could be completed in like really short span of time, so you wouldn't have to spend too much time, looking at YouTube and clicking on some random recommended video. You can instead use this. But recently, reading stats like say Udemy has a 4% completion rate. A lot of people buy Udemy courses. It's just 320 rupees, but a lot of people don't complete it. I have courses which I bought 2 years back, but I never completed it. And that's when ideas of boot camps or live classes, these classes where people like experts come and teach live and do something on a platform. That really works. And like for example, White Hat Junior, right? Though it's very expensive, I saw my friends White Hat Junior, and I was surprised the level of teaching. It's live class, and they have amazing projects. I think the learning outcome over there is really massive. So if you're very motivated and if you really want to do it, Udemy is the best. But if you are someone who's not motivated and if you want guidance, then I feel live classes is much better. But YouTube would obviously remain my last option. I really don't recommend it when it comes to learning stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to learn something, like for learning the skill, like if you want to implement it in a short period of time, YouTube is really not the good place. Like I learned Python from YouTube over like 1 year, because you see what happens in YouTube is obviously like you start watching some videos, then some recommended video of turtle game, make some turtle game with Python. Then suddenly leave the data structure thingy and go to the Python game and start exploring that. You will do some little bit of projects and here and there. Like you will learn a lot less in a lot more time on YouTube, where you can really learn all that thing in a really short amount of time with a better structure, obviously. On
Have you
online,
done data structures and algorithms?
yeah. Sorry,
Have you done data structures and algorithms?
I have done like basics of data structure, not really gone into.
Okay. Okay, interesting. So now let's take some questions and then wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, okay, you get this question a lot, right? How to prepare for IIT in like 2 months?
Yeah, actually, I think to answer that, I like, what can I say? If it was really possible to start from scratch and crack an exam like JEE in 2 months, people wouldn't really be working for 2 or 3 years,
Mm,
right? Sorry. So I'm not saying it's not possible. But if you're starting from scratch, if you have no kind of foundation of 11th and 12th, it's kind of next to impossible. But if you have like boards level understanding, you can maybe cram in and work really hard for those 2 months and get somewhere, like
Mhm.
crack.
Okay, so someone is asking what's the major difference between AI and CS. So, I mean, this is my thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. CS is more about learning logic. It's more about learning to think. It's more about data structures and algorithms. It's a very problem-solving centric course, right? It's while AI is more math heavy, I would say AI has a lot of different applications like deep learning, wherein you actually train a model and see how it performs. It's more about predictions, while CS is more about solving problems, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So that's the major difference. And as far as career goes, this is what I'm. This is my opinion, of course. CS, you can go into a lot of software jobs, and maybe it could be building a website. You can become a web developer, or a lot of companies just hire people who know DS and algorithm because they want problem solvers, right? At the end of the day, the companies have problems and they want someone to solve those problems. So they go into those roles. You can become an app developer. And when I say software development in general, like most software developers know app development, web development, everything, right? Because that's your job. And in terms of AI, I mean, of course, you can go to the software engineering field. I'm pretty sure about that, right? But at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time, when it comes to AI, you also open up a huge spectrum of other jobs as well. Like it could
Hmm.
be going and working for Tesla on their next self-driving car project. Could be some drone startup where they're trying to make drones that do surveillance automatically. So I feel AI has like crazy amount of applications, and a combination of CS and AI is like incredible. So that'll just make you one of the most wanted person in the industry out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Sanko, any final words, any advice to students?
For students, I'm gonna say that a lot of you, like, I know it's really hard to keep studying in this lockdown because I know you're not gonna get to college anytime soon, obviously, and that's really a letdown. And what I really want to say is, an exam, a result of an exam is really not the deciding factor of your life. What really decides is if you are happy, if you are enjoying what you're doing. Like one of my physics teachers used to tell me, one of the biggest privilege in anyone's life can be being busy in a work that he likes to do. So that's what I want to say. Like, not cracking JE or not cracking BIPSAT is not the end of your life. People from outside those colleges are, I mean, I have met pretty amazing freaking people outside my colleges who are like really good at some skill, who are really great as a person. So you can really work on yourself. That's really the basic thing I can tell. College is not going to make that much of a difference. Even if you go into IIT or BITS, the college really doesn't make that much of a difference. Is after all, it's all up to you. It's how
Mhm.
you interact with people around you and how you work on yourself. So keep that in mind. Do what you like, at least for some part of your time. Do keep doing something what you like. If you keep cramming stuff up and just involve yourself into doing something you don't like for the whole day, you're gonna burn yourself out. So at least keep some time for some things that you like to do, some hobby, or some, even if you like to like learn a skill, go do that. So take care of yourself. That's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Don't
guys.
take stress.
So take care, keep experimenting, keep learning, keep failing, and yeah, never over pressurize yourself and stay calm. With that,
Yeah.
we are closing the session. Thanks a lot for coming in. Really appreciate every single one of you who's there. And take care. Have a great day, great evening ahead. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.